Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Geeky Pod with Manas. So in today's episode, we have a guest who is a banker, maybe the second generation banker, because her parents and in-laws, maybe her husband also is a banker. Today she joined us to discuss all about banking, bankers, all about cybersecurity and how it is implemented in various banks. And also we have understood from her how to get into public sector banks, what are the exam procedures, what are the various aspects of a bank and how it works. And if you are willing or aspiring to be in the banking industry, what are the things you should take into consideration? How to deal with senior uh, consumers who are 50 plus or maybe 60 plus, how to deal with them, and many more things related to banking. Please join me in welcoming Devapriya Debroy, who is a banker by profession. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you like the content. If you are hearing on Spotify, please do hit the follow button and do rate it. Thank you. Enjoy the podcast. So since you're in banking currently, so what a normal day in your life looks like?
Normal day in my life looks like, I wake up at say 8:30. I know it's pretty late, but then I get ready. Thankfully, my current posting is not too far away from my home. So it's around, you say 10 to 15 minutes. And then I take the commute. I reach there. Banking starts from, you say 9:45, 10. And then it goes on till the work finishes.
Right, right.
More or less the same.
So right now, I believe not much pressure like how it used to be before, like when demonetization started, and maybe when is the actual pressure comes in a month in a bank?
You can say the beginning and the ending of the month. I
Okay,
mean, when the salaries and pensions get credited, that's the time the footfall in the branches increase.
okay. But right now, all most of the salaries are digital, right? Like it directly gets credited to the bank account.
No, yeah, yeah. Salaries are digital, but they come to update their passbooks.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have ATM related issues. If they have
Mm-hmm.
to withdraw the money from ATMs, also they require the debit cards to work fine. I know
Okay,
most of the works have become, online transactions, debit card and credit cards, but yeah, wherever cash is required, you still come to the banks and ATMs,
okay,
of course.
okay, okay. So now, from your own experience, like we belong to the same 90s era. So from then on till now, what you have seen changes in the banking sector? So I remember when during our college days, we used to have to go to bank to get a demand draft, then submit in the
Yeah.
college. So, and from then on to now, what changes you have observed in the banking sector?
Okay. I don't know if you knew it beforehand, but I'm a
Okay.
second generation banker in my family.
Oh, okay.
Both my parents were also bankers. So in the same bank, of course.
Okay. Okay.
So and thereafter, my husband is also in the same organization,
Oh,
and my father-in-law also. So both of us are second generation bankers here.
okay.
So yeah, we have actually seen the the banking atmosphere change over the last, you say 30 years, since 90s and now. So whenever when we visit the branches and we talk to the old timers, the guys who joined the bank in say late 1980s, 1990s, who are about to retire say in a year or two. So they say that banking was much, much different back then. So they say that, yeah, technology has advanced and, it has become much easier for us because they say they had to carry these fat ledgers, this big and this fat ledgers they have to carry. Because previously, before, the computers came into play, uh, all the account informations, details, everything used to be written on the ledgers. So, uh, everything. You mean the tiniest detail, like, monthly interest was calculated manually. Not just that, when there were fixed deposits, you to calculate every month's interest and then add it up for 1 year of interest. So yeah, we got it pretty easy. so to say.
Right.
And yeah, but banking, though it has evolved and it has, become more digital, and computer plays a big role nowadays. Even interest calculations and all, we don't even know the process. I mean, we know basically in pen and paper, but we didn't never had to do it per se.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it has changed a lot. But of course, what happened was, in those days, the number of customers used to be very limited.
Mm.
Now what happened? After liberalization, also a lot of bank accounts opened, but the biggest boom came in the year, 2014-15, when the Jan Dhan accounts and everything was
Mm.
introduced.
Okay.
So most of the people who didn't have accounts opened accounts back at those times. Obviously, the bulk increased, number of customers per employee also increased.
Now, since we have seen the progress, a major shift in the banking industry in terms of technology, right? So, coming to that, let's say currently whatever technology bank is having, in the same line, if I have to add a new technology or upgrade a particular system, as per you, what are the
Hmm.
challenges do you think bank will face? Because already it's settled down, and for a big banks, which is commercialized big banks, it's very difficult because the customer
Hmm.
base is huge. A small change will impact a lot of customers. So how difficult it is to adopt to a new technology with the ever-changing industry?
There are two challenges. First thing is, what we face is, banks like ours, which are PSBs to say, public sector banks, the people work till 60, till their
Hmm.
retirements.
Hmm.
So what happened during the, introduction of computers and banking system also, what happened? That the ones who were, say, 40 plus, 50 plus, they found it a little difficult to cope with the technology. So our first challenge is getting our staff adopted with the new technology and everything,
Hmm. Right.
the new way of working, because people get set in their ways, by your 40, late 40s and 50s, you get set in your ways. So our first challenge is to uh, get our older generation up to date regarding
Right.
this technological advance.
Right.
So for that, most of the PSBs and also ours, we have dedicated training institutes.
Hmm.
So whenever something new gets introduced, uh, we have training in batches, and mostly the front end staff, who are the clerical staff who attend the customers more, they get those trainings so that they can learn themselves. And the second challenge we face is educating the customer. You see, in India, we speak about demographic dividend and everything,
Hmm.
but it also comes with a challenge, because there are a huge number of, we can say, uneducated, but you say technologically uneducated population that we have to cater.
Okay.
So I guess brick and mortar structure of banking will eventually cease to exist, but currently it's very much required.
Hmm.
And customers who can, there are other customers who can run a Facebook properly. So with them it's easier. With them it's easier. A little bit hand holding is required from our front end stuff, and it gets easier.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think being a banker, it teaches you being patient. Like you have to be too much patient with older generation customers.
Oh my God, you can't believe it. Because previously, in 1990s, 1980s, it used to be a customer used to come to bank and treat them like some sarkari officers. It's
Yes.
not like that anymore. Now, from the day one we get into the bank, we get to know that customer is king. Whatever they say is right. And
Right.
sometimes customer come with pretty wrong informations. And yes, we still have to entertain them, keep our
Yes.
head cool, take a few deep breaths, and then move on.
Right. So, in the same line, like you might have encountered already, the older generation customers will come to bank and saying like, because they received a phone call, XYZ amount from their bank was deducted, and they have no clue. So now they're
Yeah.
blaming the bank that you have deducted, taken my money. So in that case, how
Yeah.
do you handle? or from the bank perspective also, what are the steps being taken to educate those kind of people?
Yes. One of the most important thing is in every branch we conduct monthly meetings.
Okay.
Okay. So we call them customer relation program,
Mm-hmm.
for which we call our premium customers, local customers,
Mm-hmm.
different customers in every month. And we try to discuss with them these kind of fraud techniques, that whenever anybody asks for your OTP, or somebody calls and says that this is a call from your bank and you share so and so information, say the debit card information. So we try to tell them over and over again that don't don't share your details, because whenever such phones come, it's better to take a day off and visit the branch, and everything will be clear. You can talk face to face. Now there are also cases where the thing has happened, I mean money gets debited,
Mm-hmm. Right.
so to say. So in those cases we tell the customers to inform us as soon as possible, if possible within 24 hours.
Mm.
There are cells within our banks in which we can go ahead and we can put up complaints. So there are cases where the customer shares OTP. I mean, it's you can say it's the customer's fault that they have shared their vital information. In those cases, bank really has nothing to do. Okay, but there are other cases. Say for example, mm, your card gets cloned.
Mm.
It used to happen
So
few
I'll
years back
interject
also.
here.
Your card,
How cards get cloned actually? Like if you can share some light on that.
sure, sure. What happens? There are tiny machines as such, like scanners, which can be inserted into the place where we used to insert the cards in our ATM machines.
Mm-hmm.
So it is always advisable to check if there is any cloning device in your machine.
Okay.
Okay. So in your ATM, before you make any transactions or you put the PIN in. So it's very important. And that apart, our bank and many of such banks have come up with cardless transactions also.
Hmm.
Nowadays, you don't need to insert the card to take out money from the ATMs also. So you can go on with the cardless transactions also. So what happens if the card gets cloned? In that case, it is not the customer's fault. Okay.
Correct.
Because you didn't know there is a State Bank ATM, or there is a PNB ATM, or there is a HDFC ATM, say. So you go in, you put in your card, you are expecting your cash to come out, but you get messages that multiple transactions happened from your account and so sum of money was withdrawn. So in those cases, bank takes full responsibility, and you'll have to put in a complaint with your respective branch. If you are not present in your domicile, your wherever your home branch is, you can go to the closest branch and put up the complaint, or whichever bank the ATM is connected to. So you can go there and you can put the complaint. It will get resolved. There is a turnaround time for that. Say, I don't exactly remember, but within 30 days, your issue will be resolved.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So now coming to like major part from a customer point of view, like so what happens is normally if you see private sector banks and if you see the PSBs, public sector banks, like so what
Yeah,
happens is the
yeah.
main difference that as a customer one will get is uh, in some of the scenarios in private sector banks, normally as a customer don't have to visit the branch much. But in case of a public sector, there are some instances where it's mandatory to visit the branch. For example, I have internet banking account. I want to change the password or PIN. I have to visit. But for private sector, it's not like that. You do a call to customer service, provide your information, and it happens. So is it
Yeah.
because of the safety, because the user base is large, or is it because of the technological drawback that is persistent in the bank?
No, you can say that I have recently checked. First thing is that the customers per employee for private sector banks are at max 100 to 150.
Hmm.
In the same case with in the same place with PSBs, it is over 2000, 3000.
Right.
So you can understand the difference in ratio. So I know there are some drawbacks, but what you're saying that for changing the internet banking pin, you have to visit the branch, that is not entirely true. Even 2 days back, I have changed the pin of one of my friends
Mm-hmm.
from my own branch, and she was in Delhi, so she didn't have to visit the branch. And secondly, what happens is, you see, PSBs cater to the masses.
Hmm.
PSBs cater to the masses, and private sector banks like HDFC, ICICI, Axis, these banks, they cater to the classes. You see, whenever you go to open an account in HDFC Bank or any such private sector bank, they'll ask from you a minimum average balance of 10,000.
Hmm. Right.
Okay. But when you come to a public sector bank, though there is a, a minimal, what to say, amount that you have to keep in your account, but most of the cases it isn't maintained and there are no charges also. RBI has waived off those charges.
Okay.
So what happens? You say a rickshawala
Hmm.
or a guy who runs a little stall in your roadside.
Hmm.
That guy will not have the threshold of 10,000 rupees and open a private bank account, right? So, and these people are also the people who are not very technologically adept,
Hmm.
like, the IT guys or the technical freak guys who open the accounts in
Yeah.
private banks,
Yes.
right? So what happens if they don't come and visit the branch? Sometimes when they, use the internet banking wrongly,
Mm-hmm.
say some sort of link comes and they click on it
Mm-hmm.
and their money goes. So they can, if they don't visit the branch and we don't keep a written consent, what happens is they sometimes tend to misunderstand us that we are changing the password from the back end. So there is
Okay.
this issue of trust also. We can't really explain it to them that how we can't, change the password without their consent and everything. So keeping a consent and paperwork becomes important in those cases. But yes, if a customer is, he can run the state bank, internet banking, whatever apps your bank is providing, then most of the things become very much easier, even resetting your password if you have to say.
Right. So now you see that with the same line now, mobile bankings and the internet bankings are rampant in the industry. So everyone has to have a mobile banking. So now that comes with a
Hmm.
lot of risk because you have to install one app in your mobile, which is your personal
Yeah,
bank, or it provides personal banking experience. So now with
yeah,
that, it involves a lot of cybersecurity aspects as well, because you'll see someone might have clicked a link over WhatsApp or Facebook, and it has cloned their data and taken some money out of their account. So how do you
hmm.
restrict or educate younger generation, because mostly mobile banking is used by younger generation who is between 28 to 40 or maybe above. So that generation, how
Mm,
do you
yes,
educate, like you have to take this precaution measures, securities? Because in from my experience, I'm telling, I attended one seminar on cybersecurity. So there people are saying you maintain two different mobile devices. One is for your banking, one is your personal activities. So don't mix and match. But it's not possible for everyone to keep two mobiles. In that aspect, how to
yeah.
have cybersecurity with your personal mobile banking experience?
Look, the thumb rule is that you don't save your account information in any site, any website.
Hmm.
They give you the option, right? That do you
Right.
want to save the information? So
Hmm.
you don't save that. You know what happens in cybersecurity cases? 90% of the cases are avoidable.
Okay.
We can avoid those cases. And nowadays, what happens, those online rummy apps, you can play
Yeah,
rummy
jungly
online,
rummies
you can
and
play,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And you can, there are apps, there are games in which you have to subscribe, there's a monthly subscription thing going on. So you have noticed few years back, and I think last year only, RBI had suddenly deleted all your data from all those apps, and then you
Right.
have to re-register.
Correct.
So this is for the very same thing. Younger generation gets attracted to all these Ponzi schemes, quick money games,
Hmm.
online lottery, online rummy, online cards. So what we will advise them to do is, yes, you purchase stuff, but you don't save your information there. And there are already also those, already those warnings that you don't click on links that come from unknown numbers. Don't click on links. Don't share your OTP. And from bank's end, we are trying to, there are firewalls, walls, and everything. If there is, while using internet banking of any bank, if you're facing such issue, or you have not shared any information, you have not saved your data anywhere, in those cases banks generally, since it's, you say, our shortcoming, so we generally take the fall. I mean, we will
Hmm.
not take the fall. I mean, we'll take the responsibility. We'll assure the customer that your money will come back and all that. And
Okay.
there are these what to say, these fraud cases, no, the fraudsters, they're always one step ahead of us somehow,
Right. Definitely.
always one step ahead of us. And because recently I have seen this identity theft thing also. A customer has come to my branch and he said that uh, he had, what are those sites, where OLX and all, where
Hmm.
you put up things for sale,
Right.
second-hand stuff. So he had put it up. So one guy contacted him, said that he is some army professional, and he even sent his canteen card photo. So he trusted him. Then this guy told him that I'm sending you 1 rupee. So you please check whether it's getting transferred or not. Okay. So after that, he checked his whatever GPay or whatever he was using. He has checked it that the money has come, 1 rupee has come. So after that, this guy told him that now this is the link. You click on it, and after that, the full payment for the stuff that I am buying on OLX will come to your account.
Okay.
So my customer was innocent. He clicked on that link, and after that, 10,000 got debited from his account. Okay. He called that man. He said, yeah, yeah, there was some problem. I have sent the link again. This
Okay.
time I will pay you 20,000. And then 20,000 got transferred. This
Oh.
poor guy came to me, and when I checked that, he showed me that, see, this is a CISF fellow. He has sent me his ID card also. So when you see the ID card, it's very clear that the photo is morphed.
Okay.
But a regular customer will not see it.
Okay. So in those cases, by mistakenly or by becoming a victim of fraud, someone has transferred some money. So ideally, how much time is there between which we can revert the money from someone's account even after we transfer? For example, I
No, you
transfer some
see,
money, yeah, to you, but it went to XYZ person. I go to the bank and say, revert me my money.
uh, so what happens if it is in the same bank and you can show the proof?
Hmm.
You can, verify that this transaction was wrongfully done.
Hmm.
Say you wanted to send money to account of Mr. A, and Mr. A's account is in our bank. So it
Okay.
becomes much easier. It becomes much easier to revert because we can contact the customer and then we can, revert the thing. What problem happens when the person A has an account in a different bank. Then it becomes a little more difficult. But in cases where you are clicking on unverified links and phishing and smishing, wishing, all this kind of whatever fraud occurs, no? In these cases, we cannot really help because customer has uh, unintentionally, but customer has put the authorization to send the money. So it
Mhm.
becomes very difficult. So that is why, education in these things becomes very important. Customer needs to be educated in
Okay.
case of digital transactions.
Okay. So now the same question, I'm like, let's say Mr. A, I'm trying to transfer the money. but by mistake I sent to Mr. B. But Mr. B has withdrawn the money using ATM or something. Okay, in that case, what are the chances of me getting back the money?
Okay, then it becomes really difficult. It becomes really difficult.
Because
So
bank
we
will not
have to
take the
actually
ownership,
call
right?
and no, a bank cannot. Na? You don't
Yeah,
know if you are telling the truth or not. Even that is very difficult for the bank to verify. I
right.
mean, I know you. I'll try my best to help you. But a random customer comes and says that I have made so and so transaction and I want to revert it now. It becomes very difficult.
Right. Right.
Say you have sent money to B instead of A. Okay. So this case has a very, real life analogy. This totally depends on the samne wala person. Say you
Mhm.
have left your purse in a private transport, yeah, public transport. So it depends
Correct.
on the discretion of person B that he'll return it or not. But what we can do is we can act as a bridge between you, A, and B. So if three of you at the same time confirm that this transaction was done mistakenly, in those cases we can get the money back.
Okay.
But if B
Otherwise, gone.
refuses, otherwise it's not. It depends on him. It depends on him.
Okay. Okay. So, one more thing that I want to ask is like now, fintech, we say financial technology and banking financial domain companies are growing. You might have seen ads of Cred, you might have seen ads of OnePay, Jupiter. So those are coming up with credit cards, online credit cards. So, in the same way, what is the business that a bank gets from credit card, and how much, as per you, one should possess a credit card or not?
I think credit cards are really useful, but you need to have a, credit card discipline. If you are indisciplined, credit card can drop your CIBIL score like really fast if you are indisciplined. So now you can ask that what amount of credit card should we avail? So say a person's salary is say 1 lakh. So whatever his salary is, it's safe to take credit card from multiple companies, but all of the summation of whose should not exceed 2 to 3 lakhs, not more than that.
Okay, 3x,
Not more than that.
three times of the
3x
salary.
at
Yeah.
max, not more than that. Yeah. And you say your CIBIL score is poor. Even in that case, CIBIL score, na, credit
Yeah.
rating score,
Yeah.
it checks the creditability of a person, if you can lend him or not. So the higher the CIBIL score, uh, you will be more eligible for getting credits.
Mhm.
Even the rate of interest drops with your increase in CIBIL score.
Okay.
The CIBIL is from say 1 to 900. So try to get an average CIBIL score of above 750 at least.
Mhm.
And bank considers anybody with a CIBIL of greater than 800 as a saint.
Okay.
800 plus CIBIL is a saint. So credit card, it can deplete your CIBIL score also really fast, but it can help you increase your CIBIL score also. You get a credit card, and apart from that, different kind of credit cards gives you different offers
Right.
in different times. So you can avail those offers, and you just need to assure that you pay within the payment circle. I mean payment cycle. There is a cycle
Mhm.
na, every month.
Right.
So you can take the credit for say 50 days at max, and after that you repay it. Repay it in due course, and then you are good to go. Otherwise, credit cards also charge exorbitant high interest rates.
Hmm.
They will say 3% per month. So which you can calculate, make the calculations, and it goes up to 36% per
Correct.
annum.
Everyone wants to have a job, right? So, in some are aspiring to be in uh, banks, become a banker. So, with respect to that, how to prepare oneself so that he or she gets into a banking domain job, in terms of private sector as well as from public sector?
See, for a banker, there is no initial degree that you require. You can practically go from any field into banking. You have a Bachelor of Arts, BA, you are still eligible for banking. If you have a BCom, you are still eligible. As for us engineers, we are always eligible. Okay. So there is no basic necessity for a degree for at least public sector banks. If you want to avail a job in private sector banks, of course, MBA will help. MBA will
Hmm.
help get you a very nice pay package. But if you enter into entry level packages and then you rise in your ranks, then anything. I mean, even a BTech BA graduate, any graduate can apply for a bank job. So coming to public sector banks, as you know, there are multiple exams being conducted all over the year.
Okay, yeah.
So for most of the public sector banks, the exam is IBPS. IBPS, clerical, and PO. PO means probationary officer. So IBPS, clerical, and PO, every year you'll have these exams. And even before the exam, you'll know how many seats are available. That apart, for State Bank, there is State Bank Clerical and State Bank PO. Same way. And there are regional rural banks also. So there are
Hmm.
RRB, regional rural banks like Tripura Gramin Bank,
Hmm.
as you can say, Gramin banks of different
Different
states.
states. Yeah.
Yeah. So in Tripura, there is Tripura Gramin Bank. So for Gramin Bank also, there are RRB Clerical and RRB PO conducted every year. So now coming to the point how to prepare for it, it's really not that difficult. The course is not really that difficult. The syllabus, so to say. There are four divisions, yeah, what to say. In exam, there are four types of questions. Uh, the groups are you'll have to English is English, for which you'll have to be fluent with your English writing skills, not the speaking skills. Doesn't require. And the grammar is almost class 10 level grammar. You don't need to go very deep into it. I mean, not as difficult as GRE or TOEFL and all those level exams. They have
Okay.
higher levels of English. Even CAT and MAT, they have higher levels of English. So basic level English, I mean, up to class 10, if your basic grammar is clear, you can clear it. And there is reasoning, there is numerical, I mean, the uh, numerical reasoning and the analytical reasoning. Okay. And numerical reasoning, you may also call them quants. In even
Yeah.
quants, the questions are almost class 10 level. So you don't need to go into integration and differentiation and 3D geometry. Not that difficult. It's up to class 10. Whatever we learned
Okay.
till class 10, if you are fluent with that, you are good to go. And there is current affairs. Current affairs. You need to be very well read in current affairs. Read
Okay.
newspapers, magazines. There are online magazines. Yeah.
Okay. So now different exam names that you mentioned, right? So how it is divided, because there are various public sector banks, right? Previously, I think it was 24 around or roughly. Then merging happened. Maybe the number, maybe I'm saying wrong, but merge happened. Then it got reduced now.
Yes.
So if I appear
Yes.
for, let's say, some exam, IBPS example, so how my getting selection into a particular bank will be done? I may get in State Bank, I may get in PNB, I may get in some other bank. So how it is decided? Like once I get selected, or what are the steps? Is it one exam process or two exam, prelim, mains, kind of?
Okay. Yeah, there are two steps exactly. There are actually not two. For clerical, there are two. You just need to appear for the prelims. Once you clear it, you get a call for the mains. And it's the same pattern, quants, reasoning, English, and GK, general awareness. So this is the same for your mains exam also. In mains exam, for both IBPS and SBI PO, there's another section called written. I mean, there you have to write your writing proficiency examination, for which you will have to write a essay on a current topic. They'll be providing you two or three options from which you'll have to select one. And then there is letter writing, which is also pretty class 10 syllabus. It's not
Okay.
too much. But there is a step 3 for PO exams, that is the interview. For clerical examinations, the interview process has been, eliminated. Now there is no, interview process for clerical examinations, IBPS clerical, SBI clerical,
Mhm.
and also RRB clerical. And for the PO examinations, once you cross the mains, you'll have to appear for the interview, from which your selection gets done based on
Yeah.
your interview marks. And you had also asked, what was that? You
Like
asked
how it's distributed, job.
how it's distributed. So every year, SBI has a complete different exam. So if you are appearing for IBPS, you'll not get selected in SBI. For getting into SBI, you'll have to appear for SBI clerical or SBI PO exam. IBPS is for the other PSBs like PNB, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, Central Bank, all these banks. Okay. So what happens? After that, you will initially, while filling up the form, you will be choosing your options. I mean, you will be
Okay.
giving, say, PNB, number 1 choice.
Hmm.
Okay, Canara Bank, number 2 choice. BOB, number 3 choice. All these things you can put in. And after that, when your results come out, with your total marks from your prelims marks don't get counted. Prelims is just for your cutoff basis. You just cross the threshold and you're in for mains. So marks for your mains examination will be counted, and it will be added up with your interview scores.
Mhm.
After that, your ranking will be decided in IBPS. Okay.
Okay.
So in IBPS, there are various banks, say PNB, BOB, these being the largest ones. There is Canara Bank also. So if your score is higher, your chance for getting a desirable bank becomes higher.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. Your chance for getting a desirable bank becomes higher. Even your posting in your desirable circle becomes higher.
Okay.
We have seen many young students, young job seekers from different states, say Bihar, from West Bengal, from UP, even Rajasthan. They come to Northeast Circle because Northeast is a deficit circle. Deficit
Right.
circle means number of employees required to number of employees actually getting recruited from Northeast is pretty low.
Okay.
So, uh, job seekers from other states also come and appear in Northeast.
Hmm.
So once your score is reasonably high, you can even get transferred to your home state, for
Mhm.
example. Okay. So you can select your desirable circles also. Circles means the
Area of
India is
posting.
divided into different circles. Yeah,
Okay.
area of posting. You can choose your circle also. And after that comes the number of seats available.
Mhm.
So say for PNB in a particular year, number of seats are say 100 seats only.
Mhm.
As opposed to that in central bank, you say like this year in IBPS, central bank had more number of seats.
Okay.
So almost all those who cleared IBPS PO, they got their call letters from central bank.
Okay.
It may be different next year.
Mhm.
It may be different next year.
Right. So now, how difficult it is? Like it's a nationalized bank, right? So will there be posting other than your selected location? For example, I'm saying, let's say, I have got selection in IBPS. Now I have crossed the mains exams also. I have selected, let's say, Kolkata region. Example, I'm saying.
Okay.
Now, what
Okay.
are the chances that I may be posted in Chennai region in during entire career?
Look, in the initial posting, your marks and everything will matter only for the initial posting.
Okay.
Okay. So if your mark is reasonably high and total number of, I'm taking example for SBI, say,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
say every year roughly 1500 to 2000 seats are there for SBI PO.
Okay.
Say there are 200, sorry, 200 is too much. Say 100 vacancies for officers in West Bengal circle.
Hmm.
So if everybody who has passed the exam and your score is in the top 100, so
Hmm.
you are like most likely to get most desirable circle. If you have
Hmm.
selected Kolkata, you'll get in Kolkata itself.
Okay.
Okay. But now you say the vacancies for Kolkata has been filled up with students, I
Hmm.
mean with employees who have gotten higher score than you.
Okay.
Okay. So in that case, remember I told you that while filling up the form, you can give options.
Hmm.
So your
Second
first
option.
option was Kolkata. Yeah,
Hmm.
it comes down to the second option. If you are still not eligible, you are then you'll come down to the third option. And if you have barely passed the threshold, barely passed the cutoff, you might get posted in the deficient circles. Like say
Okay.
Northeast circle is always a deficient circle, you can get posted there.
Right.
But this is only for the initial posting.
Hmm.
Okay. Once you get higher in the ranks, I mean, you take promotions, you get scale 2, scale 3, scale 4. After scale 4, you can be posted anywhere in India. You can be
Okay.
posted anywhere in India.
Okay. Now, what are the growth rate in any banking sector, public sector? Like if you join as a probationary officer, as a PO, then what are the chances of becoming a CEO in your career? Example I'm asking.
Okay, that depends how young you have joined the bank.
Okay.
Okay. SBI PO you can take at the age of 21. If you are graduate by then, you can take it at 21.
Okay.
Okay. So if you join at 21, you have almost 39 years of service ahead of you.
Right.
Okay. So it becomes quite easy for you. I mean, if you don't skip any promotions, if you don't skip any promotions, it becomes
Hmm.
very easy for you to rise up to the ranks of CEO. Like for example, our ex-chairperson. I'm
Right.
mentioning her because she joined the bank at when she was 21 years old,
Okay.
and she was bachelor's of arts from
Hmm.
Jadavpur University.
Okay.
Okay, so you see, BA, BTech, BCom doesn't matter here. So once
Graduation
she joined,
matters.
she didn't miss. Yeah. So once she joined, she didn't miss any skip any promotions. She took all the promotions in right time, and then thereafter she was promoted to the rank of
MD.
chairperson.
Yeah.
But yes, once you go out of the circle, the highest rank you can hold in a circle is that of a CGM, Chief General Manager.
Okay.
Okay, so that is like scale 8.
Hmm.
Scale 8. Okay, a scale 1, a person gets in at scale 1. So scale 8 is Chief General Manager.
Hmm.
After that, it's Deputy Managing Director, and the chairperson. So after that, it becomes more of a recommendation thing.
Hmm.
Recommendation means on-job recommendation. Your superiors will recommend if you are really up for the job or not. Okay.
Okay.
So after that, it becomes a recommendation thing. But at least up to CGM and thereafter up to Deputy Managing Director, you can rise up to that. So you'll be a member of the board.
Hmm. Okay. Decision maker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Decision maker.
So right. Now, coming to a little bit of banking information, like how the percentage of interest on a loan is calculated, in the sense, RBI every year changes the repo rate almost, or keeps it fixed. So based on that,
Yeah.
or any other factor decides what should be the percentage of interest on any kind of loan.
Yes, more or less, RBI decides the repo rate, and on that we will put, the base rate is decided by RBO. Sorry,
Okay.
RBI.
Mhm.
Okay. RBO is Regional Business Office. We keep talking about RBOs every day, so it came into the conversation.
Right.
Anyways, so RBI decides the repo rate, which decides the base rate. Okay. And after that, we will add our personal rates. Every bank adds a little bit or more of their personal, rates to it.
Hmm.
And after adding both of them, the base rate and the additional rate, you reach the final interest rate that is to be applicable.
Right. So now taking one of your answer that you answered previously, that if you have a credit card, chances of getting loan becomes higher. Now, for someone who never took a
Yeah.
credit card, they have only debit card, so they'll not have any CIBIL
Yeah.
score or credit score, right? Maybe it'll be in
No, it's
-1.
not like that. Yeah, it will be in -1. But -1 is not bad as per banking terminology. -1 is not bad. It's just that he doesn't have any history. Say a student who will apply for education loan, it's quite natural he will not have any credit history. He'll have a
Right.
-1 score. So that's not bad, Once you avail a credit, however small it might be, you
Mhm.
need to have the credit repayment discipline.
Okay.
So once you have that, you're good to go. -1 is not bad.
Right. So nowadays you'll see there are apps like Swiggy, Zomato, right? So they are providing one option, buy now, pay later, BNPL option. So so there are companies also who is providing that. That is kind of a loan only, right? So based on that, if you think that okay,
Yeah.
I have taken the money, but I'm not gonna pay it, because at when you are just out of college, you have this crazy ideas where you take the money and don't pay it. This I also did
Yeah,
when
yeah,
initially Uber, Ola started coming. I took the money on Paytm but never paid for it. So, but that decreases the credit score, right?
yeah.
So
That
how
does
how
decrease the credit
how
score.
how does it
We
take
have
the details?
no. Once you put in your phone number, now wherever you have a bank account, your phone number is linked.
Right.
And whenever you are, going into an app, they also ask for your phone number. So once your phone number is linked, almost all your information is available to them,
Okay.
right? So wherever your account is, whatever your PAN is, these get added up. These get added up. They say this thing now that karma.
Yes.
You can. This is an analogy for credit score also. So if you have never had a bad debt, your CIBIL score will be good. But
Right.
even however small, I have seen the CIBIL scores get bad for, credit of as low as 500 rupees.
Mm-hmm.
Some in-app purchase, you may say, or some that buy now, pay later thing. And people
Okay.
forget and your CIBIL score comes down. So what happens then is that uh, private and public sector banks, the good ones per se,
Mm-hmm.
the big ones will definitely check your CIBIL score, and below a certain level of credit score, they will not give you any credits.
Mm.
And then you'll have to go to the small timers, say the finance companies and all,
Huh.
okay, or small finance banks, which will charge a higher rate of interest from you. Their base rate will be somewhere around 18%, 19%.
Okay.
Where in private and public sector banks, it's somewhere around personal loans, I'm saying, it's around 10 to 12%, not more than that. So
Mm-hmm.
once your CIBIL score gets low, your chance for getting a loan in bigger banks will reduce drastically. So then you'll have to pay a higher premium on lower loans also.
Okay. So two questions before we wrap up. First is this: you mentioned microfinance banks, right? So we have examples of Utkarsh Bank, Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. So what are the banking model of these banks? It's not like traditional banks, right?
You can say that microfinance banks, small finance banks, micro, small, and everything, these are, they have cappings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Say, for example, microfinance bank, they cannot give you a loan higher than 1 crore.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So these are for micro, MSME, more to say, MSME,
Hmm. Right.
micro, small, and medium enterprises.
Right.
So microfinance banks are only for micro industries. All right. So what happens? They offer at a higher premium, but say the requirement for paper is much lower there. Paperwork is much less. Okay.
Correct.
And they will give only to small ticket businessmen or small ticket borrowers, say for personal use, like Bandhan, you can say. Bandhan
Hmm.
was like that a few years back. Now Bandhan has become a full-fledged bank.
Right.
So what happens? The capping is low. All right. So even if one or two customers default, their losses are not that much. Losses are
Hmm.
not insurmountable, you can say.
Okay.
Okay. And that apart, these micro banks, as I have seen from my experience, they have a very strong recovery channel, recovery network. Okay.
Okay.
So once a loan is given out, the recovery agents, recovery networks will mostly take care of the repayment schedule.
Okay. Okay.
So even if the customer forgets, customer defaults, the recovery agents will be sure to remind them.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
So, right.
Yeah.
So, like, what was the impact of few banks merging with the larger banks?
Okay. So you're talking about merger. So what happens with merger is your capital increases. The smaller banks which got merged with the bigger banks,
Hmm.
their capital have increased. Okay. So
Hmm.
their lending capacity has also increased. The balance sheets consolidated and their lending capacity increased.
Hmm.
That apart, small banks uh, or larger banks. See, say for example, in our state, there is a
Hmm.
big example of PNB and United Bank getting merged.
UBI. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, UBI getting merged. So UBI was the lead bank in Tripura.
Hmm.
Lead bank means the more or less you can say the bank which has largest network, largest number of branches is called the lead bank.
Hmm.
Okay. So now that PNB has merged with UBI, it has access to much what to say, many more branches and more remote regions of the state.
Hmm.
Okay. So now the customer base has also increased. And for UBI, what the beneficial point was that their lending capacity has increased as they have merged with a much larger bank like PNB. And after that, the cultures of these two banks have mingled. And we
Right.
know when two cultures mingle, it becomes a much stronger culture.
Right.
The weaknesses are taken out and the
Hmm.
strengths are assimilated. So
Right.
yeah, this is one of the biggest positives of merger that I have seen. But there are some demerits also, like you say there were two side-by-side banks, one of PNB, another of UBI.
Hmm.
All right. So if two banks now both are PNBs, so
Right.
after merger, maybe one bank had to shut down.
Okay.
So
But the
number
employee
of
base
total
was not affected,
employees,
I guess.
no, the current employee base was not affected, but for future, those who are appearing for exams, for them, total number of seats have decreased. Definitely, it has decreased.
Okay. 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 Fine. So, before we wrap up, I ask this question to all my guests: like, in your career or in your life, one thing that you would like to change by going back in time, which you could have done differently as part of your career.
Yeah, I would like to say one thing that if I could go back in time,
Hmm.
I really didn't have a plan of joining in the banking services. Okay.
Hmm.
There were some family issues, emergencies for which I had to stay back in Tripura, and this was, I'm in the best bank. And as I also mentioned that I'm a second generation banker, so my parents were also here. So that is another reason why I joined here. But I would like to say that those who are clearing these exams pretty early, say before 25,
Hmm.
okay, I think all of us should aim for a little bit higher. So for a good PSB, the higher options are, say, RBI. You can go into
Hmm.
RBI. So
Right.
what I could have done is, uh, since I have cleared this exam and I was pretty good at it, I mean, I was one of the topmost ones in Northeast Circle. I topped the exam. So I could have taken a break, sabbatical or something, and I could have appeared for RBI.
Right.
Yeah, that is one regret I'll have maybe. But I still have an option. But let's see. Let's see. But once
Right.
you get absorbed in it, your day gets a little more hectic. I mean, it's not as easy as it seems from outside. You really get mentally exhausted talking to
Right.
people, especially for introverts like you and me, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Even even talking to people, interaction takes up so much of energy. So you come back and then it's just you want to relax, don't want to go studying for something else. But
Right.
yes, if somebody is motivated enough, they should definitely try for RBI or SEBI or NABARD, so to say.
Okay. Okay.
RBI topmost.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since you have reached till the end, so you definitely have watched the entire episode. Thank you for watching the entire episode. If you like the content, this episode and the all the contents that are coming up or already are there in this channel, please hit the like button. Please hit share and the subscribe button definitely. Thank you. And if you're listening on Spotify or any audio platform, please hit the follow button, rate the podcast so it reaches more and more people.